Hi. I trust you don't mind my hat. It's cold outside. We got snow today. April Fool's Day. April 1st, 2020. My name's Steve. I'll be here with you to the end of the semester. In another 12 days, you have a writing assignment due on the topic of mind. We started off talking about Sigmund Freud's Oedipus complex. Talking about these drives. You understand what I'm saying by drive? It's a biological impulse that you cannot control because it's outside of the mind, it's outside of the will, it's outside of your ego. It's just something in the body. And these drives cause problems. And one of them, the first one that becomes problematic is the Oedipus complex. They're just there. You know what I mean? They're given to us as much as the apple tree was given to the Garden of Eden. In the book of Genesis, Genesis, the beginning. In the beginning, for Freud, is childhood. And in that beginning, there is the very same thing. There is the forbidden fruit, and that is the parent of the opposite sex, in a way. I just go with it. This is just me. I don't believe what I'm saying is particularly well accepted among scholars of psychoanalysis or whatever. But Freud says that the genesis of our problems as adults is in our childhood. And it starts with that conflict. It's our destiny. Biologically and emotionally, it's our destiny to be in conflict where our deepest attachments are. Think about that. Where our deepest attachments are, where our profoundest love is where our conflicts begin. What's his evidence? What is his evidence? Well, patients in his consulting room. He had a long private practice, observation of people. And like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, when she was talking about how you can't understand how people respond to death until you have been with a bunch of them, that's what Freud says. So his experience, his data, his empirical evidence as a practitioner. Also, literature. The play Oedipus Rex and the play Hamlet by Shakespeare, separated by 1,500 years, 2,000 years actually. Those two plays were separated by 2,000 years. They had this similar theme. Those are his sources of evidence. Some people find them convincing, some people don't. But the whole thing was shocking. Remember that? We were talking about how it was shocking. Excuse me. Because it humiliates reason. Our reason, our rationality. It humiliates this notion that we're in control of our lives, that I make decisions and I have willpower and I stick to what I say, and the capacity of my mind will bring me to my desired end if I follow step-by-step process which is governed by my mind. And Freud says, there's so much of your mind that you don't understand because it doesn't want to show itself to you, and it takes a lot of time and patience and sensitivity and willingness to break down and to relinquish your pride in your mind and get therapy. So, it also kind of destroys the illusion of the family as a place of love and support. So people don't like that either. Like, that's not how my family was. There are a lot of reasons to reject Freud's Oedipus complex, and you might come from MSU's School of Psychology, which is decidedly anti-Freudian, and they believe that Freud has been debunked and the Oedipus complex is a joke. That might be your schooling, but I would just ask you to open your mind. Just open your mind. So, interesting that we go from that to Plato's allegory of the cave. That's your next thing. And I would put some images up and I would do some stuff with that, but I'm not going to. Plato's allegory of the cave. Read it. Be confused by it, but please read it. Read Plato's allegory of the cave. Read it. Plato says, through the mouthpiece of Socrates, that the whole allegory of the cave, what he calls a simile, allegory, simile, same thing, he says it's not a statement about how some people, or those people over there, or dumb people who just don't get it, or how people who are not like me are. It's a statement about how the entire human community is. Humanity is trapped in a cave. Freud says we're trapped by our biological desires. And Plato says we're trapped by illusion, falsity, and that comes from being chained in the cave, which is the darkness or the lack of understanding of our desires. So there's a similarity there between Plato and Freud, and that is that Plato identifies desire. What are the desires? Desires for money, fame, wealth, power, control, sex. These are the chains that hold our minds prisoner so that we can't see the reality. The reality is not in the cave. The reality is somewhere out there. Yeah. So we're all trapped. Some people, though, free themselves. And who are these people? Well, of course, they're philosophers like Plato, like Socrates. They're philosophers. They're people who can free themselves from the chains of the body and desire and fear and the emotionality of being human. Some people can transcend it. Some people can get over it. They see the light. They see the sun. They travel out of the cave. They get freedom. So, I mean, there's so much to this allegory of the cave that I can't go into because it's already 7 minutes and 40 seconds in this video, and I'm going to only go for 2 more minutes. 2,500 years later, after Plato, here we are. Here we are. United States, like all the other nations in the world, suffering from the COVID-19 virus. But prior to the advent of the virus, we were already a nation divided, full of hate, full of fear, full of desire to be superior to our enemy, whether our enemies are the liberals, the Democrats, whether our enemies are the right-wingers and the Republicans. We're a nation divided. That is Plato's cave right there. That's Plato's cave.